Hello there and welcome back to the channel. I'm David Steele and here's my truck. Let's take a quick look. What have we got today? Today we have an International LoneStar, and this particular machine, it is modelled on an early LoneStar. So think when about your 2009, 2010, 2011 generation truck. Oh, green light, let's go. Okay, let's make like a tree. Okay, so point of today's trip. Well, I was flicking around looking at used trucks adverts, as you do, or at least as some people do, and I do. And I came across this LoneStar, and I modelled this truck as reasonably close as I can to it. The chrome wheels, the sort of metallic green paint, and a similar kind of spec.
Go straight.
And it just struck me as a little interesting, and here's the reason. So the LoneStar at least was kind of sold as I want to say a sort of hero truck, and that's not entirely true. It may depend on whose fleet and how that works, but the way it seems to have been considered was it's a truck that you would reward your driver with for some reason. Maybe we should look both ways there. Maybe they've achieved amazing fuel consumption, or they've avoided accidents, wrecks, or lot lizards for 5 years, or something like that. But either way, I thought, well, this is an interesting kind of spec, because it looked like it was used for a fleet. And as best I can tell, maybe not the full £80,000 gross combination weight. No, I think this was maybe used for a little lighter haul, but it was the full-length sleeper. It was the full size. So under the hood today we have a Cummins ISX15, and this is rated at 450. Let's take a quick look. Am I going to run into anything here? No, but it got pretty close. So it's a 15-litre engine. It's rated at 450 horsepower. So not the most powerful ISX15 by a long stretch, though lesser versions were also available. It's a 6x4, so both rear axles are powered. And it uses a 10-speed automated box. It's an UltraShift with an overdrive. Now the final drive information was not disclosed. So actually, let's do that. Let's go ahead and get up to the trailer.
Let's go.
So the final drive wasn't disclosed, and so I took a stab at what that might be, and I went with the 355. So an overdrive and a 355. Head and quick tug test. Yep, I'd say it's connected. Okay. I'm going to go on and kind of head out. So just 10 speeds, and when I looked at most of the LoneStars, you know, those that had an ISX15 were typically a 500 or possibly more power, and most of them had a manual 13 or 18 speed. So already this truck appears to be that little bit compromised.
Get ready to turn
because
right.
you've got less power and less torque
Turn right.
than a 550 horse or greater ISX15, and you only have 10 gears to play with, and even then you're not playing with the gears, the computer's playing with the gears. However, for a less than full load, especially on fairly flat roads, it shouldn't be too big a disadvantage. It shouldn't be, or at least it should still be fairly capable. So that's my thought process there. Did I clear that? Did I bounce over it? I think I cleared it. Let's go ahead and get into the right-hand lane. Okay, seem to be good there. So that's my thought process behind the spec of the machine. It feels a little bit compromised.
Go straight.
I jammed on the brakes, but not quickly enough. Let's go. Really would like to get going. Okay, come on, Mustang. Okay. Right, two Mustangs. All right, two S550s. Okay, that's cleared that. Right, so yeah, as I was saying, it feels like this might be a bit of a compromise specification, but it was for sale in Texas, and I figured a lot of Texas is flat, not all of Texas is flat. I do live here, it most definitely isn't, but fairly high speed limits, fairly flat roads. This truck I designed or spec'd out,
Go straight.
it's doing about 1400 revs at 65, and at 70 miles an hour it's doing about 1500 RPM. So it is, as far as I can tell, spec'd out reasonably well for those sort of higher speed cruises, but of course you've only got 450 horsepower. So to make use of the power today, or to put it to work, we're hauling a forage harvester. That's what this thing
Go
is.
straight.
It's a half-track agricultural machine of some description. It's only 30,000 pounds, although the trailer, I dare say, is going to be heavy. So this might be quite close to our 80,000 pound cargo limit, and we might find out if we get asked to stop and be weighed. But on the surface, on the face of it, it's a less than full load run with a more modestly powered truck. I would say this is maybe fleet mechanical spec. So fleet trucks are going to be your 425, 450 horsepower motors, and maybe a 10-speed because they're a little cheaper, and they're still viable for the job.
Then exit left.
And I gotta say, this is my second run in the vehicle. The first one I didn't record. It was okay. I mean, that one I was hauling over 44,000 pounds of something in it was a tarp trailer. It was alright. I'm gonna bounce the cruise up to 65. We're gonna let the cruise control get us up to cruise. This is a World of Trucks trip. Is it World of Trucks? I think it is. Yeah. So we do have a speed limiter of 65. I don't need to go any quicker. I can't go any quicker. This all works for me. Here we go, and we're in top gear at 47 miles an hour. It's going to change down. And so here is one of the disadvantages of using cruise control to get yourself up to speed. If I was driving this thing manually, essentially, if I were using my throttle but keeping it in automated mode, we might have kept it in 9th gear as we climbed the hill. We'd have a bit more throttle maybe than the no, actually we wouldn't. Cruise doesn't work like that. Cruise just gives you full power. The difference is when you use cruise control, all of the adaptive shifting technology that SCS have built into the game, that goes out the window, and the truck will put you in the highest gear at the lowest road speed possible. Most of the time. So here we are in our compromised wagon. We're finally up to 60 miles an hour. We were climbing a hill, and we're on our way. So I would say what's not to like. It does feel a little busy at 65, but it's not excessive, I don't think. You jump back in the cabin for this this curve. Yeah, it's maybe exceeded 65 by about a mile an hour or so. But all up, let's get back in my lane. I'm happy with how this truck performs. Simulated truck performs in the game, of course, it's not the real deal. And I don't think it's too big a handicap to have the gearing at 355. It seems like a reasonable compromise between having those long legs for the interstate hauling along at sort of 70, 75, but also balancing the fact that I've only got 1650 foot-pounds of torque. And of course I'm saying only. Go back 40 years, this was pretty much a high-end engine output. Things have evolved, trucks have got bigger, heavier, cargoes have got bigger and heavier, and average speeds have crept up too. So right now, cruising along at 65, our instantaneous trip or fuel consumption is hovering about 6 miles per gallon. So it's definitely not the most efficient package out there. but I was under no illusions. I didn't really consider this to be something of an efficiency champion. No, it's a fairly low-powered 15-litre engine. So you have the penalty of a bigger engine with higher friction, higher rotational mass, and theoretical and practical poorer fuel consumption, without the benefit of it producing more power. And I think this has been my issue with like using a DD15 versus a DD13 for line haul. I pay a penalty. Okay, stay in your lane, David. Come on. I pay a penalty for using a bigger engine. Now, the idea, of course, is that the bigger engine might have better longevity because it's less stressed, it's more reliable, it's built tougher. Maybe evidence that suggests that. This seems to be anecdotal. I mean, you look at the expected service life of the DD13, DD15, DD16, and there's really not, I don't think there's anything in it these days. So compare this engine with an MX-13. I could have an MX-13, not in this truck, but an MX-13 with 455 horsepower and the same torque in a 13-litre package, which is going to be a lighter engine, and will produce its peak torque that little bit lower in the rev range, and that helps. If you can use that through taller gearing, that helps fuel efficiency, so a bit of a double whammy advantage there. Now sure, International, at least in their LT truck, will sell you the A26 and the N13 going back a little bit, or the Max Force 13, and these days the S13, the Scania Super 13 rebadge as an International engine, or that's actually an engine and gearbox package, but they'll send you a 12.5, 13-litre class engine that produces this kind of output. But 15 years ago, this was what you got. I think actually the International trucks also had the was it the N13 they used back then? I got a feeling it was, but I'd have to double check. But either way, you could have a smaller engine, but the LoneStar was considered a 15-litre engine truck. I don't think the N13 was a popular option for it. We're actually making great time today. I slapped the cruise on at 65, and this is where we've been, and our fuel consumption the mileage number has crept up a little bit, which means we're getting speed. Let's drop the speed a little bit, which means that we're doing more than 5.1 we were showing miles per gallon. And then at 55 miles an hour, we're going to be maybe getting 7.5 to the gallon. I don't know, I'm curious to what we'll actually get. Need a flat road first. Flat right now. Feeling we're going to have to bring the speed right down. Yeah, we are. I'm going to just shift down and help things. Use that bigger engine brake. And you know, that's actually another point. There's another advantage of a bigger engine. I mean, you get the kudos of your key fob might say 15-litre on it. If size is important, there you go, as a tick box. But you do get, and on the average, all being equal, a more effective engine brake. Because the payback for having all that extra displacement to lug around is, it's a better engine brake. And a 15-litre ISX engine is a better engine brake than a 13-litre or a 12-litre engine. Again, all being equal. So, for mountainous terrain, you might, if you had to have a 450 horsepower motor in a mountainous on a mountainous route, you do at least benefit from that better engine brake, that more powerful engine brake, because it's trying to squeeze a larger amount of air when you use it. Tail light going to be red. Okay. So, something else about this truck. This truck is very nearly at the 2 million mile point. So 1.993453 million miles. Now, I won't hit 2 million miles tonight. In fact, actually, it's the afternoon. Begin the game. It's the afternoon? Yes. I won't hit 2 million miles total covered in today's drive, not by a long shot. But I will in the coming weeks, especially if I give this to one of my AI drivers, that he or she is bound to clock up a bunch of miles. And that will be my second truck in the fleet that's passed the 2 million miles, so that in itself is a bit of a celebration. Second truck left, I have sold some of the other ones. Alright, let's try and keep the speed at 30. Bit of engine brake, and then back on the power, 31. It's probably going to lose a bunch of speed and shift down, but we'll find out. I expect it to. Alright.
Go straight.
He actually did okay. We didn't shift down. Alright. Let's tap up to 35. We'll get the speed back up where it needs to be. Let's hope this green truck towing generator gets out my way.
Keep right.
Okay, I mean, what's not to like about that? I just asked it to give me full power up this hill, and it's not accelerating, but it's also not downshifting, so it may only have 1650 foot-pounds of torque, but it's actually doing okay. I would say actually, like I didn't expect it to. There you go. I can't really fault that. Get back in the left-hand lane, the overtaking lane. So, I think really my observation about how the power is delivered in this truck and how the transmission works is better than I expected. No great shakes, but we didn't expect it to be. And quite commendable. I'm going to cut in front of this van. He pulled way back when he saw what I was doing. Otherwise, I'll be sitting in the outside lane forever and a day, and I don't really want to be doing that. Bring the speed back down to 55. So all up, I really have no complaints about this. I think I'm speeding though. There you go. Just got a bit of speed off. I even like the colour. I would say who doesn't like a bit of dark metallic green, but I dare say not everyone does. Right there though.
Keep left.
It's kind of gonna let me in. Oh. Thanks, Tesla. There you go. You let me in. Good lad. That's my not paying attention, I think. So I'm probably going to block that lane now, which is a little unfortunate. Yeah, I am. Oh, we can still squeeze past there. There you go. Okay. So yeah, I think all up, I'm kind of happy with how this truck has shaped out. It's not the highest spec machine on the road. I really don't need it to be. It does have the built-in nav, which is nice. It's got some of the instrument package that the LoneStar came with. And all up, I'm really happy with how things have panned out. In fact, I wonder if my consumption's going to be 6 miles per gallon, because we started the trip at 5.2, now at 5.4. Maybe. Okay. Nice red opposite me. That looks like Ford's race red, which I prefer the title Arrest Me Red. I think that's a better choice for a sports car red color, but I don't have one of those colors, so okay. Another test here is as you climb this hill, the speed limit changes. It goes to 45, so I'm gonna tell it to get me to 45. It won't, but let's see if it holds on to 8th gear. It is, and it's actually accelerating me ever so gently. So we'll tap the speed down to 40. In fact, let's make it 35. And as we crest the hill, it might accelerate by itself. Yeah, it is. But I'm going to go ahead and get my cruise on to 55. Let's use the hill to my advantage to help me build up inertia. I'm not going to stress getting up to 60. I think no, actually, I think it will. We're 36 miles away. We've got a bit of a distance to go. I don't like it when trucks do that from a side road. That's just worrying. Look at this landscape. This is pretty epic. Right, let's try an external view for once. See if I can not manage to crash. Not a great obstacle to the corner. Make it a series of straight lines, David. Way to go. Okay, I'm going to have to merge left. There we go. Practically up to 65 already, so... Now, I guess the thing is, if I was running a real business and I had the chance to pick up a 15-year-old truck, an international one at that, with a Cummins engine, I'd have to question if it made business sense. So, with 2 million miles, it might not. But what compelling reason would there be to buy a 15-year-old truck versus a new truck? And emissions isn't one of them, because by 2010, these things all had to have diesel exhaust fluid. So you're not benefiting from not needing that. So you do have the emissions to concern yourself with. You've also got, well, 15 years of wear and tear and use, and that's going to require some repairs down the line. But if mechanically it's sound, if it performs as it should, the engine's not particularly stressed. So I would hope, as long as it's in good health and you treat it appropriately, you change the fluids when they need to be changed. Is it conceivable to get another 500,000 miles? I mean, when was the last rebuild? I don't know that. But I think conceivably, yeah, this could be a choice. Let us suppose we manage to get 6 miles per gallon, which I think is pretty much my kind of running average for the ISX15. What I get from maybe a Cummins ISX or an X12 power truck, if there were such a thing. Well, there are. Or how about something like an International with an A26 or even an S13? I might be getting 8 or 9 to the gallon from one of those. And it may be worthwhile simply paying for a newer vehicle, because your mileage, your fuel costs will be kind of horrendous with a 15-litre. Now, I don't know whether this is going to come through, but my girl cat is being as dramatic as you can imagine. I'm guessing everyone has suddenly left the living room and she's got no food and hasn't eaten for at least 6 minutes, and so she's wailing away. You can probably also hear me talking. I'm not laughing at her, honest. It's like the world is ending because she's been left alone for 2 minutes. Okay. She seems to be calmed down. So would it make sense to buy this truck versus getting something with a more modern engine? I don't have a strong enough opinion. I don't have enough knowledge. If you have an opinion or the knowledge, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. If this were a little older, I could see a case for, well, it's an older truck, you don't really need to worry about the emissions in quite the same way. It might make sense, but this thing does have emissions to worry about. It would be legal in California, at least. And the newer trucks have gotten a lot better with emissions. Sure, that was an issue where it really did not want to move forward. We were probably in too high a gear. Okay, can everyone like give me no space whatsoever? Well, I guess they really did take that one to heart. They did well not to bump into anyone there. Alright, so my overall mileage has dropped to 5.3. I still... It's higher than it was when we set off, and I think that's indicative of doing better than 5.2 to the gallon. I will disable cruise control like about now, let the thing just coast. That looks quite quiet, high entrance as well. So I think what we might do is let's use my four-ways. Using your four-ways makes the AI traffic behave a little differently around you, so they don't be quite so dramatic when you take up two lanes. It's almost like they expect you to do that. Good grief, can we stop bailing?
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
Turn it now.
Finally, we are here.
Okay. Well, last thing to do now, I'm actually going to go with the... Well, I don't have a choice. I'm going to go with the easy where should I place it option. But I've got a choice. I can't difficult part this one. And seeing as that ticking noise annoys the chump out of me, I'm going to switch to this view. Plus it's easier to maneuver as well. Okay, place your bets on my mileage for this trip. I'm going to go with 5.7. I don't know what it will be. I haven't looked, I'm not cheating, but I don't think I've done 6. I think I've been close to 6, but not quite. It's a little too short-term a trip for them. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Let's turn that off, let's shut the engine down, and let's see how well we did. So, cargo of 30,200 pounds. And 220 miles, okay. And we burnt exactly 40 gallons of motion lotion. What do you know? Well, that's easy to calculate. That's 5 and a laugh. So I was a little optimistic with my estimate, with my hope for. But 5.5, I don't think that's too unreasonable. It really wasn't the most aerodynamic of shapes. Okay, well, I hope that you got something from that, but I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you have, go ahead and click like. If you thought it sucked, go ahead and click it sucked, or dislike. And I'll see you the next time. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.